Minister of Finance says we are at war, an invisible war, but a war nonetheless. Chamber of Labour Union sends a strongly worded letter to Parliament and the Council of Ministers. But first up, Prime Minister in her national address gives an update of the COVID-19 cases at the St. Martin Medical Center. Those are the headlines for Friday, April the 3rd, 2020. This is SXM Daily News. I'm Valerie Van Putten. Now for the details. Prime Minister of St. Martin, Sylvia Jacobs, speaking at the national address last evening, gave an update on the coronavirus cases at the St. Martin Medical Center. The Prime Minister also announced that there are 15 beds available at the St. Martin Medical Center, 6 for medium up to and including ICU, and 9 purely for medium care.
SMMC clarified in a communiqué of Wednesday, April 1st, and updated a few moments before getting into this press briefing that they currently have 15 beds available. 6 are for medium up to and including ICU care, and 9 are purely for medium care. These available beds have been made available for COVID-19 or suspected COVID-19 cases. SMMC has 3 regular ventilators and 1 mobile ventilator available for ICU patients. At the moment, there are 3 confirmed positive COVID-19 patients and 3 highly suspected cases in the care of the St. Martin Medical Center. Thus, from the beginning to now, 10 persons have been admitted to SMMC thus far. 3 have been discharged and 3 are critical, while 2 remain stable. Also, 1 highly suspected case, which was admitted last night, has reportedly passed away this afternoon. I hereby extend sincere condolences to the family and friends of the deceased and wish them all God's blessings as they deal with this very tough loss. This brings our total to 2, as the previously deceased person has been confirmed as a COVID case as well.
Prime Minister Sylvia Jacobs also announced that the local laboratories on St. Martin, HCLS, in collaboration with SLS, is now cleared for COVID-19 testing.
As of yesterday, April 1st, 2020, I was informed that the local laboratories on the Dutch side of St. Martin, including HCLS in collaboration with our national lab SLS, is now cleared for testing for COVID-19 suspected patients locally. Results submitted before 3 p.m. will be made available the same day. As a result of the ability to test locally, we will be increasing our testing samples. Please take note that this will most likely result in an increased amount of confirmed cases. SMMC has also reported that the first COVID-19 related death never reported to SMMC for treatment prior to that day. Thus, the Prime Minister would like to remind all persons to reach out to CPS in the event that you are experiencing flu-like symptoms. Also, we remind you that 914 is an information line. It is not a hotline to get immediate service. If you are in dire conditions, you should call 911 or 912 in order to be able to get the response that you need. The St. Martin Medical Center continues to assist, and though their capacity may be small, they do have the capacity at this moment to be able to deal with all the confirmed cases that require treatment.
And in more COVID news, this time from French St. Martin, SXM Daily News has just learned that there are 2 additional cases on French St. Martin, including a nurse. This brings the total cases of COVID-19 on French St. Martin to 24 as of today, Friday. And persons have been arrested and fined for not adhering to the curfew. The police made several arrests on Wednesday night, April the 1st, to enforce the restricted movement of persons as part of preventative measures to avoid the further spread of the coronavirus COVID-19. Around 9:30, the patrol saw a car driving on Nisbet Road. The patrol gave the driver of the SUV a sign to stop, but the driver kept on driving. After a short search, the suspect was found in the vicinity of the Wancher Idiskin Boulevard. In his hurry to evade the officers, the man damaged another car and the water pipe belonging to GEBE. The suspect was arrested and given a fine of nearly 2,000 guilders. While patrolling the boardwalk, meanwhile, the police saw a man riding up and down on his scooter. When he saw the police coming in his direction, the man fled via one of the alleys towards the Front Street. After a short chase on Front Street, the patrol succeeded in arresting the man with the initials GPR about 8:45 p.m. in the vicinity of Music Man. The suspect, who was also in possession of a stolen vehicle, was taken to the Phillipsburg police station, where he is being held for questioning. The public is requested to stay at home unless they have one of the letters stating the reason why they are on the road. Those who do not adhere to the prescribed measures issued by the Prime Minister and the EOC will run the risk of being detained or being fined. And still to come, Member of Parliament Christophe Emmanuel is calling on a complete shutdown of the island. I'll have the details of that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Member of Parliament for the National Alliance, Christophe Emmanuel, is advocating for government to shut down the island in an effort to better control a rise in COVID-19 cases.
But at this point in time, Stephen, the only thing that we should be concerned about is testing and more testing. I've been saying it over and over, and I'm asking the government again, let us shut down the island, total shutdown, for 1 month. 1 month. Let us bring in the test kits. It's about $200 and something for one. Get 20 million from the trust fund. 20 million from the trust fund. Bring in 40 to 45,000 test kits. Use the community centers to do the testing. Get in contact with the foreign minister of Cuba, Mr. Bruno Rodriguez. These are the individuals we met during Palatino. Ask the chairman of parliament to do a conference call with the chair of parliament of Palatino to get in contact with Cuba. Ask for 50 doctors. We can't do it by ourselves. We don't have the medical staff to do it by themselves. We can't stretch them thin. By a total lockdown and by mandatory testing, you would know what we have. This is being proactive. And it shouldn't be in this stage where, oh, we can't do this and we can't do that because of this. This is unprecedented times. These are times where you set aside rules and laws to get things done to save lives.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister eventually reacted to comments given by the Member of Parliament. She said that the health and safety is, first of all, our responsibility. She is asking the community to do everyone a favor and just stay home. Those calling for the lockdown, she says, will be the first ones to cry.
Changes will continue to come as we continue to assess how the measures implemented are actually being executed. And it is totally up to you. Last week, someone told me you're starting to sound like the Suriname general. But it looks as if it is at times that is what is needed, a tough, hard exterior for people to listen. I said it softly, I said it toughly. Now other ministers have joined the cry. The health professionals have joined the cry. But people of St. Martin, your health, your safety is first of all your responsibility. For those of the persons that I'm asking to still go to work, the emergency personnel, they have taken an oath to serve, and they do so with honor, and I thank them. Even the gentleman standing behind the camera right now, the lady on the editing table, these people are coming out of their homes so that I can inform you. So yes, some government workers, emergency workers, medical and health professionals, law enforcement, we have to work. But the rest that can work from home, please do yourself and the community a favor and stay at home. We have allowed for banks and supermarkets to be open so that no one runs short of food. That is the only reason the banks are open. So that you are able to have access to funds because yes, as much as I have a card and don't need the bank to be open, not every citizen has a card or the capabilities to use a card. So for those persons, I allow the banks to be open for now. Supermarkets will remain open, but I guarantee you, those calling for the lockdown will be the first to cry when it happens.
And in other news at this time, the Chamber of Labor Unions has sent a strong worded letter to the Council of Ministers and Parliament recommending changes and amendments to our labor laws.
Considering the fact that the COVID-19 is a pandemic that has affected the whole world, St. Martin being no exception, the WICLU, as workers' organization, would like to request on behalf of the workers of St. Martin your urgent attention for the recommendations we strongly feel are necessary and urge that immediate implementation will be mandated to mitigate the serious social, economic, and financial impact on the workers and their families. Considering the fact that this pandemic will have very negative impact on workers that might be faced with loss of income due to termination of contracts or downsizing or even closure of business, and the unemployed and underemployed now seeking full employment, the WICLU proposals and recommendations would be in line with the human rights and the equal human rights guarantees, human development, social protection floor, equality principle, right to decent work, unemployment benefits, and social allowance. Recognizing that the ministers would need to commit to the 17 Sustainable Development Goal, WICLU would like to, however, put emphasis on the following goals: the eradication of poverty, which is SD1, zero hunger, which is SD2, good health and well-being, which is SD3, clean water and sanitation, which is SD6, affordable and clean energy, which is SD7, decent work and economic growth, which is SD8, reduce inequality, which is SG10, sustainable cities and communities, which is SD11, and in compliance with the international human rights treaties ratified by the Kingdom of the Netherlands and Article 81 of the Constitution of St. Martin. WICLU hereby recommends the protection of the existing jobs and also the protection of the workers on the local market, the protection of workers in occupational health and safety workplaces, total protection of the frontline workers. The coronavirus does not, except nobody, of course, that's between brackets, because it is essential that the healthcare workers can get proper protective wear, PPEs, as we would call it, to be able to work with the corona 19 patients. These workers who are in the forefront have to be protected themselves before they can care for anyone else. Therefore, these PPEs have to be available at all times. Otherwise, they will be at risk of getting sick themselves if not well protected.
Now turning to our weather forecast. The weather for April the 3rd, 2020. A weak Atlantic high-pressure system will continue to generate mostly light southeasterly winds across the region. A relatively dry and stable air mass will continue to restrict precipitation. A high surf advisory is in effect for St. Martin, as long period swells are expected for the surrounding waters through the next 24 to 36 hours. Seas will briefly peak near 7 feet before improving by Sunday. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise caution. And now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, Minister of Finance says we are at war. An invisible war, but a war nonetheless. And I'll have the details of that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
Minister of Finance Ardwell Edion says that we are at war, an invisible war, but a war nonetheless, with the coronavirus. The minister made the remarks at the weekly Council of Ministers press briefing. The minister said, unfortunately, we will also see an economic war and a war of misinformation, among other things.
We are at war, an invisible war, but a war nonetheless. Yesterday, somebody asked me, what would you prefer, a hurricane or a pandemic? I would prefer none, to be honest. But if I had to choose between the two, I would choose a hurricane. Why? I can see the damage of a hurricane. I can prepare for a hurricane. I can see the recovery efforts afterwards. I can be insured for a hurricane. But the war we are facing now, we cannot see it. It causes fear, anxiety, and panic. But we are not only at a war with the virus, we also face an economic war. After the virus has passed, we will also see financial issues. Our economy will be pressured. We don't only have an economic war, we also have a war with irresponsible human beings. A war that we can fight, but we choose not to fight. I believe that in this case, there must be something. If death doesn't scare you, then love might help us then. There must be someone that you love enough to know and want to follow the rules. I'll take an example. I haven't or wasn't able to see or touch my mom for the last 3.5 weeks because I love her. We especially us millennials, I believe we have a responsibility, not because we could survive based on the data and statistics, but because we care for others. That's the reason why I follow the rules or try to adhere to the rules. Again, if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for someone else that you love. But we also face another war. We face a war of misinformation. Misinformation that, again, causes panic, causes anxiety, and will cause the virus to spread much more than it should. We face a war of irresponsible politicians that use a crisis to their own advantage. We face many wars in this pandemic that have come to light. But again, I say we can beat this war because we are the people and we win wars. I had a conversation yesterday with the Chief of Police, Mr. Carl John, who said that we are doing a decent job, but we need to improve. And I would like to say something today that maybe the Prime Minister refuses to say, but I will say this. If you look at the data around the world, we look at Italy, they have been on a complete shutdown, but yet still every single day we see tens of thousands of cases coming. Again, we are a small island, but a high density island. With our population, we could shut down the whole island. We could shut down everything, but we don't have enough human resources to manage every single crook and cranny, every single street on the island. The responsibility also lies on you. The government is doing their job. We have to do ours. In this time of a crisis, let us also keep an eye out for the mental state of our friends and family. My advice to you is, we have the information already. We know what to do. The number one rule I realized and that came out as a pandemic is stay at home as much as possible. No, the ginger shots won't help as much. Yes, we could prepare our bodies for the flu or for the coronavirus, but the main thing we want to do is avoid it permanently. Stay at home as much as possible, please. There's no time to play dominoes, go to the beach, because of the multiplier effect. You could have one person that enters a safe house and have everyone infected in less than 15 days.
And in news from French St. Martin, Territorial Councillor and leader of the MJP party on French St. Martin, Louis Mussington, wants the community to be aware of the seriousness of this COVID-19. The councillor says he is concerned and troubled that those out there are not getting the message, the importance of staying safe.
As you said, since we have this pandemic on us, and it's really creating some serious concerns in our community. We know of the national figures, we know the international figures, but let's bring it home tonight because it's not bright. It's not bright, and I'm very much concerned. I'm very much troubled by the fact that not enough of us, even though I am applauding all those of you out there in Radio Land, in the country, taken from Oyster Pond down to Terrebas, who are fully much aware of the need to take all precautionary measures. The sad reality is that there are still a certain amount of young people in particular in the different neighborhoods who are not yet getting the message. So tonight we're going to elaborate on that a bit to try to hammer home stress on the importance of being safe. Because when you stay safe, you're not only guaranteeing your own survival, but you're also guaranteeing the safety of your brother, the safety of your sister. When I'm talking brother, in terms of our society, in terms of everyone in the community. So I think we all have a collective responsibility to take the time out to do just that, and that is to stay, first understand the seriousness of the virus, and secondly, to take the necessary measures that are explained, emphasized on all TV and radio talk shows, both locally and internationally. It is of critical importance that you, in this community of St. Martin, take the time out to pay keen attention.
And still to come, travel movement forms now available on government website. I'll have the details of that story when SXM Daily News returns. And as we end this edition of the news for this evening, the travel documents forms A, B, and C are now available on the government website for download on smartphones. The COVID-19 Social Impact Assessment form is also available for download. The forms can also be filled in online as well. Persons can use their desktop or laptop to download the forms and fill them out online. But for smartphone users, this option allows the person to show their phone with a completed form to authorities at police-controlled points. The public can go to the following link to download the 3 forms that they need into their smartphone: onlineservices.stmartin.gov or COVID-19. The link will bring you the page COVID 2019 forms and assessments. On this page, it gives you the option to either select Form A, B, or C. The ministerial regulation implemented on Monday, March 30th, 2020, will require citizens to carry a form, a professional travel proof document on them signed by their employer, declaring the need for them to travel to work. Please fill in this document and carry it with you in the event that you are stopped by the authorities. Professional Travel Proof Form A. Employers can sign the form once it has been filled in by the employee and electronically send it back to the employee to save on their smartphone, and then they can use that saved version to show police officers at control points. All St. Martin residents needing to travel for essential services will be required to carry a Form B personal travel waiver. Documents found below. Please fill in this document and carry it with you in the event that you are stopped by the authorities. In an effort to reduce the possibility of the spread of the COVID-19 virus, all residents of St. Martin, Saint-Martin, needing to cross the border will only be able to do so for either work purposes or health purposes and will be required to carry a Form C, Certificate of Exemption. Documents found below, you can fill in this document and carry it with you in the event that you are stopped by the authorities. Certificate of Exemption Form C. The Social Impact Assessment form can be found at the following link: onlineservices.stmartin.gov.org COVID-19 SIA form.aspx. There are several sections on the form that needs to be filled in, such as Section 1, Personal Data, Section 2, Financial Employment Data, and Section 3, Basic Needs Assessment. And with that, I'm Valerie Van Putten, and just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again on Monday. Do enjoy a safe weekend.